It's a foggy afternoon today after a morning full of rain, so I expect the trail will be wet today. Now there's a whole flock of goldfinches here enjoying those late summer seeds. We've got some pokeweed blooming here. The first fall bloomers are here. So this is white snakeroot. It has these big nettle-like leaves and then white flowers. And right away here at the beginning of the trail, I noticed those asters. The dewberries here are now having fruits on them. A lot of them are red. I believe the ripe ones turn black. I'm not seeing a whole lot of ripe ones. I assume that's a sign that the animals pick them up and eat them. The rattlesnake plantains are done blooming. They're making seed pods now. This pine has one of the greenbriers climbing up in it, which is now also making fruits. The horse balm is blooming now. And the Joe Pye weed. These flowers typically are very popular with butterflies, but I guess it's just too rainy today for them to be out and about. We can definitely see the first signs of fall arriving here in the woods. So those striped maples, actually their foliage is already turning yellow. Quite a few maple leaves already on the ground here, starting to cover the trail. And here we've got some of that Virginia jump seed in bloom. Yeah, it's wet today, so it's got some raindrops on it. The black cohosh here is now making berries, so it's setting fruits. The rabbit tobacco is still blooming here. So that's that white blooming lobelia. There's still some Solomon's plume fruits that haven't been dispersed yet. We're starting to see some goldenrods coming up here in the woods. So these are our typical fall bloomers. Some of these are making galls. So that bulb on the stem there, that's the sign of an insect getting in there, laying an egg, and then the plant grows around that, making that bulb on the stem. Yeah, it's a rainy summer day out here. Here we are at that little seepage area. It actually turns out the jewelweed here is the orange jewelweed, not the yellow one. So these flowers have a lot longer spur, and they're actually pollinated by hummingbirds. And here we have that yellow jewelweed for comparison. So these have a shorter spur, and they're primarily pollinated by bumblebees. These are the seed capsules of the white avens. So this makes these hooked seeds. And these latch onto clothing or animal fur. That's how they spread around. Now those fall sunflowers have really taken over here. The figworts are done blooming. They're starting to make fruits. And the bellflowers are mostly done too. Here's another one of these plants with the prickly seeds. The wood nettles are still blooming here. Male flowers below, female flowers above. The orange fruits of the fairy bells are now really obvious. These have already been chewed on by something, revealing the seed inside. And here I actually found a Solomon seal with fruits. So remember, these have two flowers in pairs hanging down below the leaves. So the fruits also come in pairs. And more of the fairy bells fruiting up there. I believe that's the starry campion making fruits. And here's still some of it in bloom. The monarders seem to be done blooming. Still found one of them in bloom here. This seems to be the acrimony, now going to seed. And here's the St. John's wort we saw earlier, making seed capsules. Here we've got one of those mystery plants again. Now these seem to have yellow flowers. I'll have to look those up and see if I can figure out what that is. Now here we've got another plant that is just now budding and getting ready to bloom. Remember those heart-shaped leaves we saw in the spring? This is now what the plant looks like when it's grown up. The leaves now look completely different on these. Here we've still got a couple of these plants that have not sent up a flower stalk. So we're back at the northern end of the trail. Yeah, the cutleaf cone flowers are nicely in bloom here. The snake roots are just starting. They're mostly still budding. We've got a nice patch of that Virginia's jump seed here. You can see those long stalks with flowers. We've got some Carolina horse nettle in bloom. Got some mushrooms that have popped up here. The sourwood is still in bloom over there. We're seeing more butterflies now. Looks like we've got some more rain moving in back there.